Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Diane Crow Show, a place where you're loved no matter who you are or where you are on life's journey. Now, please help me welcome me, Diane Crow. Hi, girls. Hi, guys. Hi, everyone out there. I'm so excited, as always, to have you with me on this Sunday. I hope you've had a fabulous week. I know I've had a crazy, awesome week. And our guest today is like way above my pay grade, honestly. I mean, this girl just came off of modeling trans clothes on Times Square at the Sony Theater, I think it was the Sony Theater, in New York during Fashion Week. She has been on Forbes magazine, or in Forbes magazine. She is a person of knowledge and supporter of all of us trans girls. So I cannot tell you how utterly excited I am to have with us Livia Wolfe. Hi, Livia.
Hi, Diane. Thank you
It's
so much
good
for
to have
having
you.
me.
Oh my gosh. We've been talking about this for a long time, so congratulations on your
I
big
got
runway.
mine. Cheers.
Bing!
Ding.
So what are you drinking there, hon?
Oh, this is just Chardonnay. It's Menage a Trois. I like it. It's called Silk.
Menage a trois.
Yeah, it's the
Sexy.
brand. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty darn good actually. I'm not giving it a plug. I don't work for them or anything, but it's good.
So I found you, I think, on Facebook, where I saw you on the runway walking toward the camera in a very, very runway model face. You know, that
Yeah, that's the thing,
expressionless.
right? You have to. Yeah, exactly. Well, you could do all sorts of types of personalities where you're going on a runway, but before you get to the end of the runway, you're really pretty stoic. And then when you get to the end, you can do your thing a little bit, depending on your designer and that sort of thing. But yeah, it was
Oh,
terrific,
that's so cool.
epic.
So
It
I
was
am a,
Sony Hall. It's called Sony Hall in Times Square.
it's called Sony Hall. Ah, Sony Hall, okay.
Sony, yeah, it's,
I have
it's
always
actually.
been a,
I'm sure it had a different name a long, long time ago. It's been there since 1938. It was,
wow.
yeah, right, long time, and it's had a lot of famous Broadway shows, and Bob Dylan and Prince and Pink and everyone in between has been on it. Pretty cool.
And now Lilia,
And now me
or
on the
Livia,
runway.
sorry. Wow.
Yeah,
I'm so
I
excited
loved
for
it.
you.
Such a beautiful room, nice
And
venue.
how is it that Forbes, tell us how that worked out for you.
Yeah, they actually had a writer reporter in the audience, and they saw the show and they came to see us backstage afterwards. And they're like, of course, they want to feature us in an article, and they did so. And in a few days, it was live on Forbes.com, and that actually went live in the last few minutes of Valentine's Day. So if you wanted to
Oh,
go to Forbes.com, you can just search Livia Wolfe, my name, in on their little search bar, and you'll find the article.
very,
It's pretty
very
awesome. I love
nice.
it.
Now,
A few
I
pictures of me,
also
plus a
saw,
bunch of words about trans clothing company
so
and
tell
all
us
other
about
models
that.
involved.
What makes them different as a trans clothing company?
Well, it's from top to bottom. Everyone involved is trans or non-binary, gender non-conforming, and the whole company, from the designer to me. um, it's really wonderful, and that in part has helped. For instance, the show that we did on February 10th at New York Fashion Week made New York Fashion Week history. We had the youngest ever trans model walk the runway at New York Fashion Week, and she's only 10 years old. Her name's Noella. She's amazing. I can't wait to see her grow up. Yeah, she
I saw
started,
pictures of her. She's beautiful.
yeah, she is, and she knows what she's doing. She's brilliant. Keep an eye on her in the future.
Ooh.
She's a smart girl.
Now,
And
I, I also know that you were on Capitol Hill doing something very
correct.
important for all of us. You want to share that with us?
Okay. Yeah, that was actually back in September 2019. Luckily, just before, a couple months before lockdown with the pandemic and all. But I knew I was going to DC anyway for first ever National Trans Visibility March on Washington, DC, which was amazing in itself. A good 5,000 people marched to the Capitol. But before that, I got there a few days early. I was there 6 days total. And I made appointments on Capitol Hill with a few senators and House representatives to go lobby them on our behalf, on behalf of all trans people, and not just trans people, but just all Americans, also for other things like better access to drug recovery programs, that sort of thing. And definitely going after pharmaceutical companies to some degree, right? They're going to hate me for that, but that's okay. That's a good thing.
That was during the Trump administration, wasn't it?
It was. It really was.
So what was that like?
That was just insane to just be there, just physically just to be there, not doing anything besides being present during that administration. It's an absolute act of defiance in itself. And so I got appointments with then Senator Kamala Harris, and sat at her meeting table, which was pretty amazing. She wasn't there that day. You just get them hit or miss. You don't get the actual senator unless they're in their office. And it was a Friday, so they had gone already. But I got 3 of their staff, and they sat with me and a few people I was with to listen, and they all took notes. And I like to think I had the ear of a future president of the United States for a little while, right? Made a difference, I hope. And also, Diane Feinstein I saw on the same day. Not her, but her staff.
Right.
And 3 of those, her staff members sat at the table with me and listened. And it's terrific. Everyone can do that. We all should do that. If you're not doing that, if you can't travel, I get that. But you can send an email. You can make a phone call. Do it every day. Find your representatives in wherever you live, whatever state, and do it.
Well, we have a huge threat in Texas right now, where the governor of Texas has made it basically illegal to treat your child as trans. And they will be prosecuted for child abuse if they have done that.
Yeah.
And
it's horrific. It needs to be stopped.
My God. Yeah. Yay, Texas again.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
My oldest daughter lives in Texas. She's an English teacher, and she lives in Houston. And that whole political environment there is so hard and challenging.
Yeah.
So I was just having this conversation. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, honey.
No, it's just I'm one of the few states I haven't been to for good reason. Right?
I have been to Texas quite a number of times. But what I was just having this conversation with a friend of mine today, and that is, since everybody in the rainbow spectrum are naturally occurring humans, that means we have been here since the beginning of time.
Absolutely.
That also means that we populate all of the little segments of America and the world just like everybody else. There are trans Republicans and gay Republicans, and there are trans and gay and straight and lesbian, etc., and bear, and you name it, in every factor of our world. So the thing that we try to accomplish, I think, is to get all of these parties to actually talk, because there should be all those people, and to be able to have honest, sincere dialogue and really work toward compromise and understanding. But sadly, there's like 30% of America that if you say something that's contrary to what's in their bubble, they don't want to hear anything else. They shut all that out.
They just shut you down, block it out, like doesn't exist.
Yeah.
We've always been here, right?
Do you know Joseph in the Bible? Joseph and his many colored coats. Okay.
Right. Yeah, I know of it.
They did a musical about it. They did a musical, Joseph and his amazing Technicolor dream coat.
Sure.
I'm convinced Joseph was gay. Okay? Or
Right?
trans.
Why else would you have a
He
rainbow clothing?
loved flamboyance.
Yeah.
To be flamboyant. He loved it. He super smart. And when Potiphar's, who was the big boss, wife came on to him, he's like, nope, not
Not
interested.
having it.
It's like,
He could have,
you know.
right? He could have just been a good man, right? And not went
Well,
for
that's
it,
true.
which is great.
That's true.
Yeah.
But there's never any discussion of him ever getting married.
Right.
And he goes high into his world. And his brother just hated him. Hated
Probably was an
him.
LGBTQ person, I would think.
Yeah. So I really believe that we have been here for all time, and the real honest truth of it is to let people, everybody know we're just normal people, regardless of how we present.
There is no, in nature, there is no binary. There's not one type of star or one type of galaxy or one type of planet or one type of frog or tree or human, right? We're a spectrum. Everything in nature is a spectrum. Gender is no different. And to assign, I was what's referred to as assigned male at birth because my body looked like that, but it wasn't who I really was inside. And as a child, many of us feel that, from as early as age 1 or 2, definitely 2 years old. I know a few people personally. And for me personally, by kindergarten, it was an issue because that's when we're forced to socially interact with other children. And it became obvious and painful. And by 4th grade, it was a real issue. And by 5th and 6th, those were pretty bad years for me.
Oh.
But
where did you grow up, honey?
I'm sorry?
Where did you grow up?
Oh, actually, just in the burbs of New York City, across the river in New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Between Jersey, yeah. I'm a Jersey girl. So, from North Jersey down to Central Jersey for the most part.
Okay.
Like Elizabeth to New Brunswick,
Oh,
Princeton,
yeah.
Trenton.
I used to go up to the city all the time for work, and I would take in as many shows as I could possibly take in. And it was just one of my favorite things to do. I just love that.
Yeah.
Jersey's fun.
I love New York. It's probably my favorite city in the world. And maybe because I grew up next to it and seeing the skyline and that sort of thing from where I was, even in New Jersey. But it's not only a beautiful place, I love the people. And you can do anything there, really, anything that you can think of doing, any food, any activity, just about any day of the week or any time of day, you can find it.
Oh, yeah.
It's terrific.
There are certain things that I miss about the city. I cannot get good knishes here in Atlanta.
Yeah, pizza, bagels, all that stuff. Good deli food.
I can't get a real, true bagel. I used to go to, is it Zoftig's? No. What's that famous bagel place in the city? It's like a Mecca for Jews. It's sacred ground. And you go there and get the capers and the red onions.
Right,
and
I love that. I have
and the
capers in my
lox
fridge
and the
right
cream
now.
cheese and oh my God, it's so good.
Yeah. And David's Jewish Deli, that's a pretty famous one.
Oh yeah.
I didn't get to go while I was in New York City for Fashion Week. It was so fast paced. I didn't even get one of the dirty water hot dogs that are in the cart on the street corners, which I love, by the way. I'm like, I haven't had them in decades almost.
I like the hot pretzels dipped in mustard.
Yeah, that too, with the mustard and everything. Yeah, I'm a mustard girl.
So when you were a kid, when did you start to recognize for yourself that like something's really different between me and all the people they're trying to put me with?
Well, early on, like I said, kindergarten, it was an issue, but, at that age, I totally didn't identify what it meant. And even at 4th grade, when it became more of an issue, I didn't, but 5th and 6th was bad. And middle school was when puberty started, and that's when things changed. And, 7th and 8th grade, I remember, doing some version of soul searching, trying to find out who I am and staying quiet about it because there was a lot of shame involved back then regarding what we were. I never, ever, as a child, ever knew the word transgender or trans or anything positive. It was always, the derogatory terms, which was not okay. And
Yeah.
so I hid it. At age 12, when I started to grow hair and that sort of thing on my face, I hated it and I feared it. And I knew at that time that I was the bearded lady at the freak show, right?
Oh.
And that's horrible for a child to believe. And I did believe that. And even in medical textbooks back in the day, and they're still out there now. They should be replaced with newer versions that are accurate.
Right.
But doctors were saying we were wrong. We didn't know who we were, and that we were just misguided or crazy or had issues, and we weren't the female that we knew ourselves to be. And of course, that was wrong, and it sent my life on a wrong path, and it took decades to fix. And I lived a life that wasn't meant for me for a long time, and finally, I am living the right life. And there's nothing better than that, bar nothing, bar none. And
cheers, honey, to living your best life.
For real, actually. Cheers. Thank you.
I too am living my best life these days. No question about it. I've been 100% trans for the last year. And I actually was in communication with my doctor today, and I should start my hormone therapy in about, in just about a month. I'm so excited.
I'm coming up on 3.5 years, 4 years almost for me. So
wow.
I'm ecstatic for you. You're going to love it. Not only does it make physical changes that are quite obvious, but in a matter of 10 days or less, I felt better, more serene and centered than I had in my whole life. Because as a child, I was just being poisoned by the wrong hormone. And while hormones make such a big difference, to have the right hormone, it's everything. It changes your life. For instance, everyone takes Tylenol, and each one is 500 milligrams, and most people take 2 at one time. So you're looking at 1,000 milligrams, however many times a day you take it. I do an injection once a week. It's 1 milliliter that contains 5 milligrams of estrogen. 5 milligrams per week instead of 1,000 4 times a day, maybe, for Tylenol, right?
Wow.
And that's all it takes. It's 5 milligrams a week, and it makes all of these changes.
Well, I have to tell you, I'm a little nervous because I have always been able to cry at the drop of a hat. And I think I'm going to be crying a river constantly for happy cries and for sad cries. I'm sort of bracing myself for that.
Right. Yeah. Well, it will augment that ability. Frankly, it's an ability, behavior, and it's not bad. I don't feel bad about it. I do cry more. I was someone that had access to my emotions as well before this, but it has magnified it. You could experience things. Well, for instance, I did when adjusting, getting my dose correct in the very beginning. You might have PMS, which I loved actually because had never experienced it before.
Do you become
At first,
a
I was
raging
doing
bitch?
an injection every 2 weeks instead of every week, and then there was a trough of where it wore off in the last few days, and I wasn't feeling good. But so instead of doing it every 2 weeks, I do it weekly now, and that makes all the difference in the world. And progesterone as well. I've been on that as well, and that gave me visions of me breastfeeding a baby. And that made me weep like you can't imagine, twice on 2 different occasions, months apart. But
that makes me
it's
want to cry
awesome.
just the
It's
thought of
awesome
that.
to experience that. Yeah, I wish that on every trans woman, every trans girl to transition as soon as they're ready to.
So I don't mind sharing with everybody out there that I'm not really certain of my sexual orientation. I don't.
Okay, that's good.
Is it good?
It's good since hormone treatment can augment your sexuality. For my entire life, I had been and presented as a very heteronormative straight cisgender male, and I
Right.
wasn't, of course. But I never really liked men per se because of the whole package. But but I did like their package. But I never acted on it. I never acted on it because I don't like the whole person. And
Mm.
now, since being on hormones, it makes me more likely to want to give them the time of day.
Mm.
So it's not a
Well,
bad thing, and it totally is. Don't even have to think twice about it. It's not like it's, oh, this is unusual or anything. It's just like, yeah, this is right for me now, and it's naturally, it's just a thing.
well,
And
I have to
there's
share this with you.
men that hit on me, and they're all straight, by the way. You know, trans women are not going to date gay men, and gay men are not going to date trans women because we're women,
Right.
right? And a lot of
That's
people,
precisely right.
yeah, have they don't acknowledge that in their mind. And recently, I took part in filming of a dating documentary, and it wasn't trans specific, but they chose people from all sorts of walks of life,
Right.
and I was one of a number of trans people they chose for it. And you know, I remember some of the people involved being surprised that that gay men and us don't interact, and I'm like, yeah, of course we don't. They like men. We're not men.
Well, you know, it's interesting that you say that. I co-host a show called The Gaily Dose.
Yeah.
And part of the mission of the Gaily Dose is to bring all of us in the Rainbow Connection sort of together. And it's we all have very similar experiences.
Oh, absolutely.
And we should be helping and supporting one another. Something that I learned is that in New York, during the gay riots, okay, it was trans women who started all that, who were throwing bricks at the
It
police.
was. Yeah. Yeah. Black trans women started the Pride movement in
did not know that.
1969 at the Stonewall Inn.
At the Stonewall,
Yeah, I got to
yes.
visit the Stonewall Inn. I went there and I sang karaoke at the Stonewall Inn while I was in New York City for Fashion Week.
I want to do that. I would love
Yeah,
to
I
do
got a
that.
video of it, but I don't know if it's any good.
That's so
But
cool.
I put on a dress that looked like a trans pride flag, like the one behind me.
Yeah.
And we walked like, well, a total of 3.5 miles that day from where we were in Times Square to the Stonewall Inn, and we spent the rest of the night there having fun with everyone, and it happened to be karaoke night. So I'm like, I've never
Nice.
done karaoke in my life, but I'm like, well, if I'm gonna do it, it should be at the Stonewall Inn, right?
Why not? Sure.
Yeah, so I brought a different dress in my bag, which was the trans flag dress. I have it saved to wear at Pride, but you know, COVID has stopped that for a while now. But yeah, it was a wonderful night. I really had tears in my eyes while I was there because it's such
Aw.
an important place for us,
I got
specifically,
invited.
but for every rainbow person in the world, really.
I got invited to my first circuit party. Now, I had never heard of a circuit party before. And for those of you who don't know, which is like practically everyone, it's a party, a dance party that starts like Friday evening. And it goes until late
like that.
Friday night. And then they go to another venue and it goes till early Saturday morning. And then it goes to another venue and it goes all this way around the clock until
That's
early
great.
Monday
I love
morning.
that.
And it
My kind of
was
gig.
a riot. It was so much fun. And what surprised me is it was mostly gay men there. But there were a ton of young young trans sisters there. Beautiful women. Stunning.
Yeah.
I felt a little old in the crowd, to be honest with you. I probably was the oldest person in the room. But still,
Yeah.
it was a lot of
Me too.
fun. And everyone, there was no judgment. There was, and people were free to express themselves as they chose. And it was just a very loving environment. It was different than any other
Yeah.
dance experience I'd ever been to. It was really cool.
Yeah, rainbow sorts of things, you know, LGBT clubs and dances and events, they're always more open and accepting and loving and really just more fun, period, because everyone there is not hiding anything anymore, right? Because if you go anywhere else to a standard club that's meant for mainstream cisgender people, there's people in that crowd that are hiding something, or there's people that are just very reserved and wallflowers for whatever reason. But the people at these LGBT events, they've walked the walk. They ended up in that spot for a reason, and they're just living their truth, living out loud. And well, I experienced that in San Francisco. In late 2021, there was something called the Riot Party, which was on the anniversary of another trans event in Los Angeles, cafeteria riots. There was
I've heard of those. Yeah.
Right, yeah. And so they did it on the 55th anniversary, and so I traveled to San Francisco from Sacramento, and we went for the whole day in the Tenderloin District, which is a while back, a year or two ago, San Francisco made the Tenderloin District in the city the first official transgender specific district in the world, which is awesome. So we closed off a whole street and had a big party and a big stage and speakers and dancers and food. It was wonderful. So
that sounds so cool. I'm very grateful to say that Atlanta is a very trans-friendly place. So there's two parts of Georgia. There's Atlanta, and then there's the rest of Georgia.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense because it's a metro.
And I am very grateful that I pass as a woman just fine. I don't have anybody look at me sideways, like a dog looks at a ceiling fan and goes, what is wrong with that person? I don't get that.
Yeah, and we shouldn't have to pass, frankly. We shouldn't have to pass to cisgender standards, but
you're right about
we're
that.
Held to those.
But I can tell you this. I know many trans sisters who are very masculine in their frame, okay? Because they're just built that way.
Sure.
But because they have this, they own who they are. They have a confidence in that is unmistakable.
Yeah.
Nobody misgenders them. Right.
Yeah.
And nobody cares. Yeah. What I do find is the poor sisters who are terrified of expressing their feminine nature and wearing that terror on themselves when they go somewhere. And everybody in the room will go, there's something not right about that person.
Yeah, it's like we're still hiding right visibly in public because we're afraid to interact with people. I was at first, very much so. But very quickly, I think once you do it more, you just become, hardened to some degree to the interactions that, good, bad, or indifferent that you meet on the street. And I've been really lucky, especially living in California. It's, it's frankly easier than living in Georgia or most places in the country, unless you're on, a metro area that has a lot of folks, see lots of diversity all the time.
Well, I have a tiny little story about that. I moved to a different house, and I decided to go out for Mexican food. And so I went to this Mexican place, and at the table across the way, there was a husband, a wife, and her sister sitting there, and I'm eating and enjoying it. And I happened to glance up, and the sister and the two sisters were like staring at me. And I was like, oh shit, I've been clocked.
Yeah.
And so I just smiled, and waved and thought, I got to get out of here. But I took a moment to think about it, and I thought, wait a minute, maybe I should just test this out. So when I was through eating, I got up and I walked up and I put my hands on both their shoulders and I said, hi, ladies. They looked up at me and said, oh my God, it is so good to see you. You've been gone for so long. They just thought I was somebody that they knew from before.
Oh, right. That had been there because it's like maybe their local place. I like that. Yeah. I get such positive response from women on the street. Not men, because men are attracted to us, but they fear their attraction to us. So they they're standoffish at best for the most part. But women across the board, straight, rainbow, in between, whatever. I can walk downtown, in fact, often, anywhere in Midtown or downtown, I I purposely park really far away, like 4 blocks or more, even city blocks from my doctor's appointment for my hormones and stuff,
Right.
so I can walk and meet people, right? And it's always a woman that will. In fact, I had this awesome woman one time. I remember this one particular one. I had passed her, and she passed me, going pretty quick, doing our thing on a weekday afternoon. And she actually, in a minute, she like turned around and came back to talk to me at the next block. And she caught me, and
Oh,
she's like, you know, tell me what this is. So I enlightened her, and we both cried twice, and we hugged, and
oh,
she gave me a Christmas card, right? Best possible thing. That's all of us. Every last one of us have that opportunity, hopefully every day of our lives, to change minds. I like to say we're changing minds one heart at a time, right? We interact with these people one at a time, and they go through the rest of their life knowing who we
oh,
really are,
sure.
right?
I
And
have found, since I've been trans, that I give compliments to women freely. I always have. I mean, I'm a
yeah,
commercial
yeah,
photographer and videographer, and
sure.
it's something that I've
Yeah.
always done, but only genuine ones, right? No fakies.
Hmm. Yeah.
And I have come to discover that women give compliments to other women so much more than men give compliments to women.
Yeah. Yeah.
Men will give compliments to women if they're in trouble or if
When
they're
they want
horny,
something.
right? Or they want
Yeah.
something, you know.
Right.
But women are free. I mean, I was in the grocery store the other day, and a woman passed me in passing, and she looked over and she went, "Oh, I love your shoes."
Yeah.
I thought so nice.
Right.
I love
Shoes,
that.
nails, outfit, it matters. Those interactions matter so much. To me personally, the social interactions that I get to have now is worth every bit of what I gave up to transition. And we all give up
Mm,
our past lives, or I think most of us probably do, or at least many of us, because we're not accepted once we come out and tell everyone who's known us for our entire life who we really are, and
right.
that we had to hide it forever. And, far too
So,
many that I know have been through some pretty bad things since they came out to the people close to them. But
oh,
in the end, to be her, it takes no less than everything, but I promise it's worth it many times over, for me anyway.
oh, me
But
too. Me
yeah,
too.
right. Yeah, everyone I
I
meet
am
is like,
living my
yeah, I
very
would
best
never
life
go
these
back.
days.
Yeah.
And you,
Yeah.
honey,
Yeah, this
it
is
sounds
this
like
is
your
living.
career is going crazy. You're,
Yeah, well, I only came out in 2017, believe it or not. It was
wow.
like August 2017. It was kind of like a transition or die moment that many of us have, and I did, and
Hmm.
I jumped on board 100%, and came out to essentially everyone in my life within a month, including my mom and stuff, and
Oh, how did
my
that go?
brother, and it went fine. I mean, my brother and my mom, they're far. No one's local where I live. I had moved around quite a bit, East Coast, West Coast, Alaska.
Right.
I have family in Alaska and back east and stuff. But everyone's good with it. I went to visit them even last year, and it's good.
Oh,
So I didn't lose that, but many of us do. Our family hates us. I did lose my past relationship even before I came out, because I was already doing things that were, even before I said, "Hey, I'm LGBT or trans or anything else." They
right.
were knowing something was up. So I lost all of them, but good riddance. If you can't love me for who I am, I'm the same person. I'm just a happier version of me.
Oh,
Came out in 2017, started hormones in 2018, became a public figure in 2019, and here it is 2022, and I'm on the air with you. Doesn't get better than that,
oh
right?
my God. Yes. You know, here's, I think,
Yeah,
what happens. For those of us who are genuinely owning and living our truth, it is
yeah,
so much more powerful, inspiring to others than those who are locked into the life that they never wanted. And that's
yeah,
true of everyone across the board. I have interviewed millionaires and billionaires who have insecurities like they were a 12-year-old girl. Okay?
right.
Success does not guarantee happiness.
Mm-mm.
It never
Yeah,
has.
yeah. What kind of success is that really? monetary, financial, but it's pretty limited. It's not true happiness.
I guess it defines how you, or depends on how you define success. I mean,
Right.
for me,
Correct.
if I'm doing something that I love, meeting people that I love, and having this fabulous chemistry and energy with other people, oh, it doesn't get any better than that to me.
No, it's priceless. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
absolutely priceless.
Although I
Yeah.
have to tell you, since I've been 100% for the last year, I haven't had much of a sexual appetite up until about a month ago. And then it's
Okay.
starting to come on to me. There's a gay gentleman who's beautiful and built, and he's so sweet and he's so lovely, and I just want to do him so bad. I had I had lucid dreams about him.
Oh my
Okay,
gosh.
I
He probably
did.
he probably wants a guy, honey.
I
You
don't know,
know?
but I'm totally open to it. And
Right.
I just heard
Those
there is
dancers at
a.
those clubs are beautiful, but they're look only and not touch.
Oh well, that's no. Everybody was touching everybody at that club. Let me
Okay,
tell you.
well, yeah, publicly.
I just found out last night there is a trans sister in Guatemala. And the Guatemalan trans sisters are very rare, actually. But she is a huge supporter of the rainbow connection. And I found out also that there is a town right across the border from Guatemala where they do not recognize gender. That everyone is free to love whoever it is that they feel the most connection with. I'd never heard of that before. I want to go
That's a
there.
beautiful thing.
That, I,
Yeah.
I so want to go there on a
There
trip.
should be the conditions everywhere on Earth.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know that as a young child, I was attracted to certain people. And it wasn't just a boy or just a girl, but if they embraced me and we could have real genuine conversation about whatever it was at that age, I just love that person. And it didn't matter whether they were a boy or a girl. I mean, I was born in 1958, and so we didn't really talk about gender at all. You were a boy, you wore blue, you were a girl, you wore pink, you played with dolls,
Right.
you played with trucks, and
Right.
I didn't get any of that. So I
Right.
made my own
Yeah, we were
dolls.
trained. We were girls that didn't get to be girls, and we were girls that got trained as boys. We were
Yeah,
girls that the first time I ever cross-dressed really was the day of my birth when a nurse put a little blue beanie on my head, right?
I never thought of that.
Yeah, I mean
Wow,
that's what it is to me. It's like they cross-dressed me
interesting.
from my first moments of life.
Wow. Did you did you ever
And
come home from school and your dad say, "So, did you meet anybody interesting?" "Yes, I met this boy who's beautiful."
right? Yeah, well, I didn't like boys. I liked girls, and I was just so introverted and shy, and the proverbial wallflower, etc. That I didn't date when I was a teenager.
No, I didn't
I'll go
much
on record
either,
right now,
actually.
but saying this is shocking to many people, but I was a virgin till I was 22.
Ooh.
Truth, hashtag truth. And not because I didn't have offers. I actually got asked to dances and the prom and everything by girls. But it was from all the gender related stuff going on in my head that was like, I'm living the wrong life and I don't know what this means and I still can't identify it.
Right.
Even, back like I had mentioned, even in seventh and eighth grade, it was an issue. And when we have to, in eighth grade, when we had to choose our classes for high school, the following year, I chose to take AP biology, which is advanced placement biology, in my freshman year. And, I was counseled by, a person at the school to not do that because it's too much. But I
Right.
felt compelled to do it because I thought the biology class that was really hard would make me able to figure out who I am.
Hmm.
And yeah, to some degree, of course it didn't, but to some degree, it did, and it led me to a public library in New Jersey that I went for a day and had my dad drop me off and told him I was working on a school project when I really was just going there to figure out you know, what the actual, right? And
Right.
spent all day there, and that's when I found the books that said, I wasn't a girl, I was crazy, and so I buried it, and that's unfortunate. And
Yeah.
our people need to know that's a lie,
Well, for
and
those of you who are
that's
just now joining us, I am so happy to introduce you to Livia Wolfe. Livia is living, I think, I could speak for you, your best life so far, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely.
So Livia is a model. She has walked the runway at Fashion Week in New York City. She's going to be in Hawaii walking the runway, in LA walking the
LA,
runway. She is a
San Francisco.
a standard bearer for trans and for rainbow commitments and laws and helping to protect us all. And you said something earlier, honey, that I thought was so powerful, that anybody can go to Capitol Hill and lobby their congressman and senator, right?
Yeah, it didn't take much, make some phone calls, contact your local representatives, get a hold of your representatives in your own state that work both in your state and have offices at Capitol Hill.
Right.
Make appointments and go see them. Or if you can't do that, call them every day. Be the squeaky wheel, send them emails, tell them you don't like all the things. Be specific, do your homework. You can't just call them up and rant. They'll just they won't take you seriously. But do your homework and write it down. A script if you have to, right? That would be helpful. Just write down what you want to say to them. Put
Right.
it on a piece of paper in front of you, get it done, and really you'll change the world. Because, I don't know, I'm reminded of a Margaret Mead quote, and I don't know if I can recall the whole thing right now, but basically she said, small groups of people, right? Small groups of committed people changing the world shouldn't be a surprising thing, ultimately, because it's the only thing that ever has changed the world. And every last one of us can be a committed citizen, individual, American, any of those things, all of those things. Just take some action, whatever you can do, every day, every month, twice a year, whatever you can manage. It'll make a difference. It always
Wow.
does.
Thank you for sharing that. I mean,
Sure.
it's very true that all of us can make a difference. You shared with me that the official count of trans people in America is around 2 million people. And I would agree with you that it's more than likely much more than that.
Yes.
When I first started cross-dressing, because that's what I thought I was, I just loved to explore these feminine
Sure.
fabrics and the feelings and all of that. I joined crossdresserheaven.com. They have 25,000 members. And
Wow.
I know. So these are all men who cross-dress. That's how they identify.
Yeah, there are actually men that just love to cross-dress, and they're not even necessarily gay or bi or anything like that. They just,
Yes.
and in fact, I know more than one of them one of whom I've traveled with in a group before, and it's nothing, lascivious or anything. They just love to look that way and to go and sit in a bar and hold a drink in their hand, and they're not hitting on anyone or accepting anything, and they just need that, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's beautiful.
And walking in a pair of heels or
Yeah.
just wearing a great dress. Oh, it's the best. I have always said, and this is for all you men out there, I would encourage every single one of you, and wives, make sure your husbands do this. Have them shave their legs at least once and put on a pair of pantyhose. They
And
will
walk
get
in
in
our
touch with their
shoes.
feelings like they've never done before. And I swear there'll be less war and violence in the world if men did that. So I would challenge all of you to reach out to your men and have them do that. I think it would be so cool.
Have them do that. Yeah, no, I think that is a sort of a leveling, a self-leveling kind of activity. If you have a spouse or just anyone that, if they want to do it, don't make someone do it. But if they smile when you mention it, then go shopping, get them a pair of shoes that fit, and let them see what it's like to literally walk in our shoes.
Oh, for sure. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So when I first started really discovering this about myself. I had an event to go shoot. I'm a commercial photographer. I had an event to go shoot, and it was an LGBTQ event, and I was going to go in femme. I'd never gone in femme before to anything, and so I went to Goodwill, and I was too embarrassed to try on the shoes, to be honest with you. So I would look at them and these are nice shoes, and I think they'll fit me. So I would take them home, try them on, and if they didn't fit, I would just give them back, because they, of course, wouldn't take them back.
Yeah.
So I finally
it's
went to
stressful to try them on in the store at first.
Oh, yeah.
Right, because it feels like everyone's watching you. If you're presenting as male, at the time.
Oh, I used to take.
It's scary. Yeah, I've done that.
I used to take the shoes and I'd put them in the cart, and then I'd find some shirts and I'd put them over the top of the shoes. And this was before COVID. And then I would go into the dressing room and I would try the shoes on, but of course I had shirts so no one would think it was odd.
Yeah,
but it was very interesting,
they didn't know
because
what you're trying on.
But the ladies there at Goodwill, I would show them all the dresses I was in, and every time I came in, they'd go, "What do you have next? What do you got next?" And I would show them all the pictures. I was so proud, and it made me feel so good and so just genuine. And I knew that I had something that was far more powerful than just, I like to wear dresses. It's a lot more than that. And I love it. I do.
Yeah, for most stuff it is, I think.
So I have to ask you a question about your past. I mean, you've worked for some big kind of companies, big name brand kind of companies. Tell me what that was like.
Well, somewhat chronologically, back, a long time. I don't even want to say how many decades ago it was. I'll date myself. But first I can talk about the Department of Defense. I worked for directly. I signed a contract with them as a civilian to work on special projects that were classified at the time, which was very exciting. They put this document in front of me to sign and put me in a room with it and said, "You can read this, but you can't take it out of the room, and you have 15 minutes to sign it or go away," basically. So all of us involved just signed it. We didn't even read it. And basically they said, if you do anything, if you talk about what you're working on, you're going to be cracking rock at Leavenworth for 25 years, which is a military prison. Yeah, but exciting, like you can imagine. And so at the time it was working on command and control systems for the U.S. Navy. And specifically it was microwave communication systems, ship to ship and ship to shore. So, when the orders are given to do something or not do something or anything else, it gets there. And so I didn't make weapons or anything like that, but I made our fleet more effective.
Right.
In ways
and so I'm guessing you have a degree in something to understand how to do that sort of thing. Where'd you go to school?
You'd be surprised. I went to lots of schools, actually, even Princeton, but I never graduated from any of them. I just took lots of classes everywhere as an autodidact and self-directed study. And I had some natural ability early on. I was a bit of a mathematical savant, where I could just look at this equation that was literally yards long, and I can solve it without doing the math in my head. And so they saw that and they were like, "Oh, yeah, okay, you're hired." And I got to work directly with microelectric engineers to help make these devices that allowed for our ships to, for instance, what I did for the company that I worked for directly, which was a contractor of the Department of Defense. We made the best of what we made at the time, which were signal amplifiers and other things like that. Right. That let us do our work and protected the world, frankly, and the U.S. interests. It was great. Cool. Some things I've touched and took part in helping to create and more have been in nuclear submarines and every vessel in the Navy. But it's kind of neat to think that my fingerprints, unless they wiped it off, is on something in a nuclear sub.
That is so cool. I have to share
Yeah.
this story with you.
Yeah.
One day I walked into, you and I have a very similar background because I'm a biomedical engineer, electrical engineer, and I fixed X-ray machines and CAT scanners and nuclear cameras for 29 years. But one day I was going into a FedEx, and a guy was just starting to wrap up this big glass thing. It was flat, and I peeked at it, and it was a daguerreotype of Abraham Lincoln that I had never seen before.
Nice. That's like
And
one of a kind, maybe.
and I said, "Whoa, what, can you open that for me again?" And he was kind enough to do it. He was an antiquities dealer, mostly in Civil War kind of stuff. And he said, "Yeah, this is being sent off to be reproduced because it's only been reproduced like once or twice." And I said, "This is a daguerreotype, right?" And he said, "Yes, it is." So that means that Abraham Lincoln was sitting a few feet away from this glass plate, and his actual image was imprinted on that
I
glass
love
plate.
that.
Okay? And so I
Yeah.
asked him, I said, "Do you mind if I touch the front of it?" He went, "No, no problem." And so I just reached down and I touched his shoulder, and it gave me chills. Because that meant
Chills,
I was
yeah.
literally
That's history.
this far from Abraham friggin' Lincoln. Okay?
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Today,
I love
everything
that.
is digital, so it doesn't really exist.
Right, it's not the same. And I'm a trained photographer who I've taught photography classes, even like darkroom, old school film
Me
and
too.
chemicals and red light and everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's so much different. It's more real, I think, to me. Digital is better in so many ways and less polluting, of course, because the
Yeah.
chemicals for black and white and especially color photography were really damaging to the environment. But it's nothing like the real thing.
Well, okay, so I'm going to hit you with some rapid fire questions. Okay?
Sure.
This is the segment of the show where I just like blast off questions. You just answer as quick as you can. What do you do for
Okay.
fun?
Well, the dance floor since coming out, the dance floor has been the center of my universe. I love
Yeah?
to dance. I really do. If I'm not dancing, my local favorite clubs in Sacramento. Sacramento actually has quite a wonderful downtown and midtown. There's lots to do here. And one of my favorite clubs has 3 different dance floors. It has two levels in the building. It has a swimming pool out back, and they do Sunday barbecues and for
Wow.
free. Yeah, it's terrific. Yeah, it's called Faces Nightclub. It's really good.
I have got
But
to
there's a
try
few others
that.
in town as well. Badlands. There's a bunch right across the street too. It's on a whole strip that's kind of LGBT friendly.
I think you
Come
and
visit.
you and I should go Goodwill hunting, have lunch,
I
do
can
more
take you
Goodwill
places.
hunting. Yes, and then go dancing and dinner. Oh my
Go
God, I would love
dancing.
that so
Yeah.
much. Yes. Okay,
But
next
I do lots of
rapid
other
fire
things
question.
too. Um,
Yeah.
if I'm not doing that, just I do lots of things just to stay fit. Bicycling when possible in the wintertime, like now, I'll go cross country skiing or snowshoeing even within an hour from Sacramento. We don't get snow at all. Like once a decade, basically, we'll get snow in Sacramento. But
Right.
within an hour of driving, you can be in 6 feet of snow, and it's just beautiful. So
How
I'll go
fun
do
is that?
that and swim, and yeah, it's beautiful.
What is your regular face routine? How do you take care of your skin?
Lots of water. Eat lots of cucumbers. Cucumbers are really good for you. You don't have to put them on your skin, although sure, do that too, because that's not a bad thing. But what you put in your body is much more important than what you put on your body.
Oh,
That being said, don't skimp on the moisturizer, the sunblock if you're out in the sun every day, because that has a cumulative effect on you. Stress, stress hurts your skin. It hurts every part of you. If it's bad for your skin, it's literally also bad for your brain and bad for your heart. They're very much connected. So if one is not looking so good, you should worry about the other two.
so do you use a
Um,
serum and a moisturizer every day?
no, I should really start doing that at this point, like nighttime serums and all those kind of antioxidants and stuff. I take multivitamin and I eat really well. I'm a chef myself, so I make lots of healthy food.
Yeah.
I'm hanging on a shingle pretty soon as personal chef and personal
I
celebrity
saw the
chef now.
catfish dish you made last night. That looked really
Yeah, that
good,
was pretty
especially
good.
compared to my
That was not
catfish
bad.
dish.
Well, I took more time. That's all it is. You know,
Um, so,
I like to take pictures of it. I like to make pretty food, so I make some stuff and then I photograph it, and it's fun.
oh,
I
nice.
think of it as actually as sidewalk chalk art. When the artists make chalk paintings, quote unquote paintings on sidewalks with just regular chalk. It's beautiful. It takes a lot of effort. People enjoy it, and then very quickly it's gone. And that's the same thing that beautiful, yummy food is. So
Sure.
I like that.
Okay, next rapid fire question. Flats or heels?
Always heels. 4-inch. My favorite heel in the world is probably a 4-inch chunky heel that's strappy on top and open toe, and I can wear that almost all the time in Sacramento because it's pretty warm all the time and pretty dry all the time. But yeah, that's my heel of choice.
I I love heels. I love wedges because they make your feet look so tiny and they are so comfortable to wear.
Yeah, they're
And
easy.
there's a little tip that I share with everyone I meet, and that is that on the bottom of all of my shoes, there's a number. I wrote it on there. That number represents how many hours I can wear those shoes before they start to kill me. And when I'm putting together
That's
an
such a great
outfit,
idea. I never even
thank
thought of
you.
that, but that is terrific. I'm
I
going
have
to
not
start
seen it
doing that.
anywhere.
Actually, I need to.
And then I'm going to share one more shoe tip. So
Sure.
I bought, again, I buy everything from Goodwill. And I bought a pair of Coach heels that are so beautiful. When I saw them, they made my knees weak. And then when I saw they were my size, it made me wet. It was just like, oh, they're beautiful.
That's
And I
nice.
paid
Yeah,
$20 for them. They're
I like
brand
those.
new. So they have 4 3/4 inch heels. And as your foot sort of works its way down into the toe of that shoe, it starts to crush your big toe and little
Oh,
toe
yeah.
together,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah,
become
that'll hurt.
numb.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I get some
tip.
pain sometimes from some of those pointy toe shoes. That's why I like the open toe better because it gives you some room to move, you
So
know?
I'm a size 9.5 to a 10, and I think you're a ten
Oh,
and a
I'm
half to
bigger.
11,
Shh,
right?
don't say. Well, I'm like 11, mostly.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
that's okay.
I have discovered this really cool thing. Here is wool roving, Roving. Costs $1.79 for this little thing of wool. Okay. So you pull off some of this wool, and then you cut off the foot of a pair of hose, old hose. And you take this and you wrap it like a burrito, and you put it down into the toe of the shoe. So not only does it keep your foot dry because it's real wool, right? It also forms these little, like a little mold for your feet. And it keeps your toes from sliding down, which also keeps your heel from slipping off the back.
Nice. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I like heels that have straps around the ankle just so I can dance or run or do anything I want and I'm not worried about them coming off. But yeah,
oh
otherwise you have
yeah.
to worry about that. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. And another tip I have to share with my sisters who kind of only wear clothes at home.
Hmm.
There's a giant difference, a monumental difference between wearing a pair of heels around your house and going outside and going somewhere.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Navigating on the sidewalks and the streets and oh,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
a big difference.
Yeah, you're putting miles on your shoes and you're doing it real time on concrete in front of everyone and you got to have something that's comfortable.
Sure. Okay, so
Yeah.
next
Yeah,
rapid fire
I was in
question.
pain quite a bit on the runway actually. I had 5-inch spikes on and I stood in them for the better part of 6 hours for Fashion Week. And I was already right before we went on stage. I had crossed the boundary into severe nerve pain, and my toes were numb for 2 days afterwards. Even it
I
was pretty
bet.
bad, but you heal pretty quick from something like that. It's not like a thing, but
I,
watch out. Don't hurt yourself.
I have some Ancline boots that are beautiful. They have nice heels on. They're sexy as hell, these boots. And I can wear them for like 6 hours at a time. But after
Hmm.
6 hours, I find that my ankles are starting to wobble a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, myself as well. And I even when I got off the runway and was, we were done with the show and we weren't even in the venue anymore, I went to take my shoes off. I'm like, wow, my feet were swelling to some degree. And I put I put shoes on after that. We went out and partied and I danced anyway, but you have to care for yourself. It's a new life and you have to work with these variables, and certain things hurt, and make it work. Be happy. Don't hurt yourself.
So I want to share with everyone, because we've been on for about an hour and a half.
Wow, has it been that
actually.
long already? We need another show or two.
I know. Oh, we totally do. There's no question
Yeah,
about
absolutely.
it.
I have a
This is
6-part miniseries coming out that we have to talk about. That would take the whole show.
We've been on for almost exactly an hour. An hour
Wow.
and
Okay.
1 minute.
Damn. All right. That went really fast.
It always does.
There's
It
lots.
always
Yeah,
does.
it always does. Doesn't feel like it.
I want all of our sisters and all of our brothers and everyone out there in England and South Africa and Wales and Canada and South America that watch this show, all of you, to know that we love you, the two of us. Now I'm pointing at you. We love you, and we want you to know that it's so okay for you to be okay with whoever and wherever you are in life's journey. Own yourself, get to know yourself, regardless of how you present. Own that, and be the real person that you are. I am so thrilled to have had you on the show. Livia Wolfe.
Thank you, Diane.
You are awesome, honey. And we are going to do
I'm
this
profoundly
again.
thankful for you even contacting me to do this. It's a wonderful thing.
Oh.
A wonderful life, just like the movie, right? You live it. We get to be us finally. Yeah.
Who knew?
It's just like none of this is a thing. Everything is just, it's a dream. It really is just a dream to get to do all these things in my life now.
It is a dream.
And
when you can, I just love my headpiece. And if you're ever in a position where you can help another sister out, I would encourage you all to do that. I've been blessed. A couple of cross-dressing sisters said they were going to be in Atlanta. And I said, well, great. We'll go shopping. We'll go out to eat. That'll be great fun. And when I first met the first one, it was outside of the restaurant, and she looked very nervous. And I said, are you okay? She says, I'm just really nervous. I've never been out in femme before. And I said, oh, honey, you are with the right person. Let's go do this. And we ate, and we shopped, and we do all the things that girls do that are so much fun. And it was just a joy. And I've done that with several other girls since. And honey, I would be thrilled for any of you to come to Atlanta. I would host you here in Atlanta and take you Goodwill hunting, find you beautiful outfits, make sure you learn how to take care of your skin and your makeup, because we all go through that experience where we look like clowns when we put our makeup on. I know I did.
Yeah.
Now I can put my makeup on and it looks good. It's not like overcaked or anything. And but listen, Livia, I'm going to let you go, honey, because I know you have stuff to do, and I've got a PR meet and greet I'm going to for this other show that
One last thing, I just want to point out, everyone can, if you're in the LA area, March 25th and 26th, come see me at Los Angeles Fashion Week. I'll be on the runway for Aquatico Clothing Company.
Oh,
that's next.
So I'm gonna put Livia's stuff down below, okay?
Okay.
So that you'll know how to look for Livia and look for her stuff and maybe reach out to her on Facebook, that sort of thing. Wait, there was something else. What was it? Oh, here it is. Almost forgot. Cheers, honey.
Cheers, honey.
And I do want to ask you, is there any piece of advice that you can give to our sisters?
Wow. Well, generally speaking, just do you. You know what you are. When people complain about, young trans people not knowing who they are yet because they're too young to make that decision, I like to say to those people, to those cis people, how did you know you were a boy? Or how did you know you were a girl at any age? You just knew, right? You knew. And as soon as you know, then you need to speak up. If it's safe, you got to make it happen. It's not ever going to go away, right? I mean, I'm pretty old now, all things being
You are
equal.
not.
So, more or less.
You are a puppy, honey. A
But I
puppy.
could have done this when I was a kid, or 18 at the least. And I don't want any of my sisters to have to wait that long and live that life when they could be living something that's immaculate. I love this life. I wouldn't trade it for a thing. And I want you to have this life too. So do it.
Are there any questions
Write to
that
me
I
any which
didn't
way you can
think
get
to
to
ask
me.
you?
I'll talk to you, and I do it all the time. I don't sleep much. I get a lot of stuff done though.
Are there any questions that I didn't think to ask you that I should have?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I'm not even sure. There's a lot of stuff
I
going
know,
on.
right? We're
Movies,
going to do this
well,
some more.
we're gonna have to do this again. There's a lot of movies coming out. I have 6 movies coming out in 2022. One of them is also starring Eric Roberts and Vernon Wells. And Google them if you don't know who they are already, which you should know who they are. They're pretty awesome. And the movie's called Soul Cage. And there's an anti-suicide public service announcement coming out, and 4 other movies as well coming out this year. So please tune in. You can just Google Livia Wolfe in quotes and use Chrome or Safari. Works best, and that'll get you close to everything I have. And if you can't find that, I'm always at Lady Livia Wolfe on Instagram and just about everywhere else.
And are there any
That's it.
questions that you would like to ask me that you didn't think to?
When
a
are
lot
we
of
going to
pressure,
see each
sorry.
other again? I want to go party. We got to go dance.
Oh my God.
Seriously.
I
Before since we started
So
talking,
I'm going to
you're
be
like my girlfriend
I'm going to be
forever
at
now.
downtown Atlanta tonight for a big meet and
Okay.
greet, a big social thing. I am
Okay.
going to be in upstate New York for the ordination of what was once Gary Ferris as a deacon to now Grace Ferris as a priest.
Wow, I love it.
Yes,
Yay.
yes. And then I'm going to the Keystone Conference I'll be there for the whole conference. I'll be doing my show and morning wrap-up shows every day. I'll be doing what I call the Trans View, a topic-oriented show we're going to be doing from the festival, or from the conference in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And I'll also be live streaming 2 presentations every afternoon, as well as on-the-street girl conversations and all kinds of things.
That's
So you'll
terrific.
be able to see
I wish
me.
I could be there at the Keystone. Next
I
year
know,
I'll be
right?
there.
But you're going to be working, right?
Yeah, I'll be working. Lots of runways this year. LA, Hawaii, San Francisco, New York again, LA again. It's amazing. It's a beautiful day. Maybe
Wow.
Tokyo too.
Honey,
Yeah.
congratulations. I am so excited
Thank you
for
so
you.
much.
I
Yeah,
really am.
this is-
This has been a joy for me to be with you today. I can't tell you how much fun it is. And let me tell you, if it's fun and you're with the right people, you feel this connection, you feel this energy that just doesn't
Yeah.
come from anything else.
Yeah.
And no
The
matter how
sisterhood I
successful
feel
you
is-
are, huh?
Yeah.
Say
The
that again?
sisterhood I feel is everything to me. It's all I would need to keep going. And I just want everyone to know that, if I can do it, you can do it. I promise you can do it. All of you can do it. Go out and do it. Live your life. Don't be squashed by the thumb of the man. Okay? Not anymore.
Yeah. Well, girls and guys and everybody out there in the world that's watching this show, remember that we love you. We care about you. Mental health is so important. Learn to know who you are, accept who you are, and as soon as you're confident and comfortable with that, everything else will fall into place like nobody's business. I will see you next week, Sunday at 7 o'clock. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you so much, Livia. It's wonderful to be with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. See you soon.
Bye, honey.